inside Studio H here in Los Angeles with Paul Pierce.
The truth.
His best friend, Jalen Rose.
Absolutely.
Versus everybody. On the end.
Mr. Big Shot.
I'm Michelle Beadle. We got some, Pistons Wizards coming up. But first, we really must delve into another team in the East dealing with their own set of struggles. It's, the Cavs. Ended a 4-game losing streak last night, barely, against a team with the worst record in the league. LeBron, after the game, said, quote, "Right now, we're in Strugglesville." Now, Chauncey, the Cavs have always had an ability to turn and flip that switch. But this year, are you so sure of that?
I'm worried about them. I really am. I mean, and this is for the first time. I mean, they always struggle. I know LeBron always kind of struggles in January most of the time. But I'm worried about the spirit of the team. You know, I see bad body language. I watched the game the other day. They were actually on a run and making shots, and nobody was smacking each other five. The bench wasn't hype. That's something that I worry about. I always worry about when the spirit of a team is down. And they're different from last year, right? 8 new players, 8 free agents this summer that are worried about getting paid, and they don't have Kyrie Irving, who most of the time can get you out of a jam because he's so special and go win a game or two just on his own. So I'm not so sure, and I'm worried about the Cavaliers.
I don't think they can flip the switch. I mean, when you look at them, they rank at the bottom half of pretty much every defensive category. They're not defending the paint. They're not defending the three. They're not even rebounding. I mean, when you look at these numbers, it all spells trouble. And if they can't get a top 3 seed, and I've said this before, they might not make it to the finals this year, let alone let them deal with any kind of injury. Then I don't see them getting to the finals. And let's just say they do get to the finals, being a number 3 or 4 seed, or a 4 or 5 seed. You have to deal with Boston and Toronto. If you get through those 2 teams, how much do you have left in the tank to even compete with the Warriors?
I think they can flip the switch. I'm not worried about the Cleveland Cavaliers, and a lot of it has to do with the competition, as you mentioned. If the Boston Celtics had Gordon Hayward, I would think this was their year to take them down. The Washington Wizards were more consistent. They could probably be more a valuable foe. The Toronto Raptors, they play really good basketball, but they can't beat LeBron James 4 times in 7 games. So based on that, having him on the roster, they will find a way to get out of this rut. And I really think it starts with Isaiah Thomas. He's going to have to be a player that becomes an approximation of Kyrie Irving. That's why they gave him up. Remember, we felt like they had a great deal when they traded Kyrie Irving if they were going to move him. They need him the ball. I think his game will come around. They're going to struggle to get out of the East, but they still are going to do it.
Does Isaiah solve their defensive problems? Does he solve their rebounding problems?
No, sir.
You know, these are problems that not just one player can solve.
And also, when we say flip the switch, what are we talking about? Are we talking about just getting to the finals and then getting swept? I mean, what exactly switch?
That's a good point, because my thing is, they still make it to the finals.
Okay, so that's...
the playoffs are totally different, right? You get to game plan for one team for a week and a half, 2 weeks. I still don't think it's a team in the East that can beat them. I don't care where they finish at, what seed they finish in. I think that they got some champions on their roster. They'll know how to compete when it comes to that point, but all I ever think about is what happens when you play against the Warriors.
Right.
Or
Wally's.
Correct. So if you're playing that kind of basketball, you got no shot when you get back to that big stage. But I don't think they have a huge issue getting through the East. I still don't believe that.
I really do. I mean, you got to think about the changes. You move Kevin Love to the center position. They have no interior defense. You got Isaiah Thomas. I mean, there's a defensive problem right there in those 2. And most teams, when your head of the snake is Curry and Durant and these other bigs that you put these guys, you're going to put these guys in numerous pick-and-roll situations. And they're going to take advantage of their defense. We haven't even talked about them being the oldest team in the league. I'm not so sure they can do it this year. Just so many things just are not going their way this year. They're old. They're not defending, and 2 of their best players are defensive liabilities.
And also the players that were giving them dirty work and energy, like Tristan Thompson isn't doing it. J.R. Smith used to be a shot maker, a heat check guy. He's not doing it. Crowder hasn't come in and been that defensive game changer that you talked about, and Green also. But again, having LeBron, I think, gives them a rite of passage in the Eastern Conference.
It buys you a lot. It buys you a lot.